So here we are again. I'm gonna give you all a little bit of an outside view. Over here. This is where we are, right in the middle of the United States. I'm going to fix the route discontinuity that I showed you earlier. It's over here. So as you can see, these two waypoints are not connected by a line, so in order to connect them, we select this waypoint, put it in here, then execute. And now they're connected. So I'm going to show you some more features of the flight management computer. This page over here displays information about the cruise. This is our current cruising altitude, flight level 360, our speed in Mach. We're about 982 nautical miles from our top of descent. That's where we need to start descending. This is the optimum flight level as calculated by the flight management computer. This is the maximum that the aircraft is currently capable of. So when an aircraft burns fuel, it becomes lighter, and the more fuel is burned off, the lighter the aircraft becomes, the higher it can go. So it's very normal to see the maximum flight level to go up throughout a flight. And this is the estimated time of arrival at our destination airport and the amount of fuel we're supposed to have on board, as calculated by the FMC. This is the progress of our flight. It tells us the next two waypoints. We're currently 125 nautical miles from the SLN waypoint. We're gonna arrive there in about 7 minutes. And this shows us how the amount of fuel we're gonna have at each of these waypoints. This is the same information as displayed on the previous page, the top of descent. This is information about the navigation radio. We're going to use that later when we land the aircraft at the airport. This is a wing view over here. The tail camera. Outside again. And the camera add-on that I'm using is called Chase Plane. It has this pretty cool feature called Cinematic Mode. It'll move the camera around the airplane. And this will automatically activate if you don't touch the controls for, I believe it's 5 minutes. So I'm gonna show you all some views of the aircraft. Just let it cycle through. We're going through some turbulence here, as you can see. This is what the outside of an aircraft looks like when it's going through turbulence. And if you want to increase your cruising altitude, we'll go up to 38,000 feet. Then you just have to go to the FMC select the VNAV page, type in 380, enter that here, select execute, and then because on the autopilot panel it still says 36,000 feet, it will not go above that, so we have to increase that to 38,000 feet, then activate VNAV again, and then the aircraft will begin the climb to its new cruising altitude. So we're just about to level off at flight level 380. There's not much to do here. We just have to wait till the aircraft gets to its top of descent, and then we'll begin descending towards our destination. I'm going to leave the video here right now and pick it back up at the top of descent. So we're approaching our top of descent right now, as you can see on the screen. A message just displayed on the FMC. It says reset MCP altitude. This thing over here is also called the mode control panel. So we're going to lower our altitude to about 2,000 feet. In real life, the pilots would lower the altitude to what they're cleared to by ATC, but since we're not simulating the ATC in this flight, we'll just lower it to 2,000. We're just about to reach our top of descent, and you're gonna see the plane beginning to descend, as you can see right now. The throttles are also gonna go back. There go the throttles. Their aircraft is descending. So now we want to go to our approach reference page. That's where we select how many degrees of flaps we want to use. Today we're going to use 30 degrees of flaps with our reference landing speed at 115 knots. We're going to approach about 5 knots higher than that speed, just for safety purposes. This information over here is about the runway. We're going to be landing on runway 12, which is 10,502 feet long, 3,201 meters. And this is called our ILS frequency, or Instrument Landing System. But before I go into that, let me explain to you how an ILS works. The ILS, or the Instrument Landing System, is a system that consists of radio beacons that broadcast signals that the aircraft can then intercept, and they will guide the aircraft to the runway. One of the signals, first one is called the localizer, and that is represented by this green plane. And what the localizer does is it allows the aircraft to line up with the runway, and localizer mode is activated on the aircraft by pressing the localizer button on the mode control panel, or the autopilot panel. The other signal is called the glide slope. That is represented by this plane over here. And what that does is it guides the aircraft down towards the runway. And this mode is activated in the aircraft by pressing the approach button on the mode control panel. This system is very useful in the event that the visibility is very low and the pilots can't see the runway. So this will guide the plane down to the runway for the pilots, and then they can land the aircraft once they can see the runway.